My name's Jamie, and today we're going to take a look at the High Priestess or the Papist, depending upon which deck you're looking at. We're going to take a look at it and how to use our intuitions to read the cards, to tell the story instead of just relying on keywords. So, when reading the tarot, many people rely heavily on the keywords or think that they need to understand astrology or the Kabbalah. We forget that the tarot is all about getting in touch with our intuition. So, as in the story, The Emperor's New Clothes, what we are told we should see is not always what we actually see. So, with this series, I'm hoping to show you how to look deeper inside yourself and trust your feelings, trust what you're seeing, and trust the story as it's laid out before you. So, we all know about this deck here, which is the Rider-Waite deck. And this is the High Priestess, which is our popular card. And there's several esoteric things in here between having the Crown of Isis and having the Torah right there and black and white columns. And so sometimes it can be confusing when we're reading the different books, and I'm looking at my dozens of books up there, or if we actually go to Arthur Waite, who created this deck with Pamela Coleman Smith. We read some of this stuff and we just get confused. So I'm going to give you an example from the Key to the Tarot by Arthur Waite. So card 2, the High Priestess. So in the middle here it says, she has been called occult science on the threshold of the sanctuary of Isis, but she is really the secret church, the house which is of God, nature, and man. She represents also the second marriage of the prince who is no longer of this world. She is the spiritual bride and mother, the daughter of the stars, and the higher Garden of Eden. And okay, so I'm not sure how I'm going to use that in a reading, but the Kabbalah and the astrology and this and Arthur's book here, they all have their place. But again, I just want to be able to read the cards. So what I'm going to do today is just kind of like look at the keywords, and for this card, I'm going to look at the Marseille Tarot Revealed by Yov Ben Dov, which is a really good book. If you want to start getting into the Marseille, this is the one I would suggest getting. But he also talks about the keywords. And so the basic story, as far as the Marseille Tarot goes, with this card here, is that originally, let's see if I can get this. Come on, you can do it. Originally, the Papist was a woman who was really high in the church. I'll get it. There we go. She dressed as a man. She studied with the others as a man. And they were so impressed with her that ultimately they made her the Pope without knowing that she was a woman, until ultimately she was walking down the aisle and it turns out she was pregnant and she gave birth right there in the church. And then, as you can imagine, lots of negative things happened after that part. And so we don't know if the story's true or not, or if it was just whitewashed out. But that is the story of the Papists that many people tell. So reading from the book here, the Marseille Tarot Revealed, the Papist. Wisdom combining intellect and intuition, a spiritual mother, a woman hiding her strengths in the world of men. Modesty, secrets, something hidden, mystery. Getting a hint of something that remains largely unknown, impossible to give a definite answer now. The message is know how to set the boundaries. So, just like the original story goes with the Papist, is that she has the secret. But she is very intelligent. She is wise. She knows things. She has her book. Here, and I'll just go ahead and flip this over here. She knows things. And when we're reading this card, what do we see? we see this intelligent woman who's looking towards the past, which means that she's reflecting on all the wisdom and all the past knowledge that's contained in the book. She has, she's veiled, heavily veiled, so she could be pregnant here. And it could be the secret, it could be knowledge. It's all in how you want to see it when you're reading it. She has a veil here, which behind that she could have the other esoteric knowledge, things that we normally don't comprehend or see unless we get in touch with our intuition. And that's what she's teaching us, and that's what she has to offer. And she's saying, use your intuition. The knowledge is here. You just need to seek it. So if we're reading with the Papist, for example, then, and I'll use this deck first, as I normally do. Here we have the Papist. And she could be telling us, for example, examine your past, examine where you're coming from. Use your intuition. And maybe we could have this positive, bright future that comes along. So we can see here that we've got this whole trek here. Let's say that we had disaster, and where are we at here? We had a disaster. So now from this disaster, we can tell our story that not all things are negative, because this is the light of truth. The tower, what? The tower essentially tells us that the one thing that can hurt worse than a lie, the one thing that can cause more damage than a lie, is the truth. And once that secret is revealed, what we thought was a catastrophe could now, because we have gained insight, we have been able to look at this and learn and gain the revelations and the insight to find something positive from it. Or we could be seeking wisdom, but we're looking externally. And looking externally at wisdom, looking, using our lamp, seeing what's outside there. We're aged, using the wisdom of a teacher. But behind him, this could even be a reflection of him inside. The more that we learn, the more that we transform into a Papist. And the ability, if we choose to seek the external and understand the truth, then maybe the internal can grow and it becomes positive. So it's all in how you want to look at the Papist. So let's do this. I am going to just take this deck here. And let's see what we have here if we just were to read the Papist. I'm going to even take that card away. So here's what the Papist is looking at. And here is what the Papist has her back to. So if we're telling our story, she's looking at that stability with the Four of Coins. Fours are about stability, and coins can be health. They could be our finances. And she's saying that if we can, the thing about the coins is that they're not about intuition. The coins are about earth and the physical things. And this is saying that when we need to take advantage of the stability, and if we can find the stability for the external and combine that with the internal wisdom of the Papists, then we can find the balance between water and earth, between spiritual and the physical. So I'm not using any keywords here. I'm just explaining the Papist exactly as we see her. Right? So let's take a look at Arthur Waite's. So here we have his Papist. And as I generally explain, the most important thing about reading a deck using our intuition is that we base our readings on the deck. So for this particular deck, intuition, all that still applies. all the keywords still apply, but now she is staring straight at us as if it's like bearing down on our soul, looking at us, looking for the answers inside of us and trying to pull it out. Again, she has her secrets back here. She has her wisdom scroll here. We've got light and dark. So it's still a valid thing that if we can do this, but now we have the light of truth being struck. And now if I was reading this, she is staring us in the face, daring us to look at the truth. She is staring right at us, and that is a dare. She's saying, I know what the truth is, whether it is there's shame involved or whether there is pain or something else. She's like, stare into my eyes if you want to understand and be able to move past. See how we can tell the story with that one? And another deck that I really, really like, especially since this deck has mystery to it. Look at this deck. So this is the Somnia deck. And all of the figures in here, all the people, you can't see their face. So when you're dealing with inner demons or inner secrets, it's one of those things where you can see with this particular card, we've got the smoke here, the same we have the columns that are black and white, but now all the secrets are deep in the ocean for us to find. And she's carrying that apple. And as in Adam and Eve, that's the apple of knowledge maybe. And she's carrying a book right here. So she is holding the knowledge that we need. So again, how would we look at this? So, you know what? Let's put a negative card after this. Let's say we get the High Priestess and then we have the Devil. And then let's just pick a card from this. And let's tell a story with it, because now we see that, again, even though we can't see her eyes, she's staring directly at us because she has knowledge. Maybe our lives are written in this book right here, and we need to be able to look at the depths to understand what's going on here. And because of what we're seeing and how we react, maybe we can't handle that truth and it becomes the Devil card, which means that's all of our negative, those are the things that we use to harm ourselves or other, whether it's drinking and drugs or whether it's other habits that we do that are negative in our lives. So what is it that's driving us, maybe turning away from the knowledge? We know, because generally it's inside us already, but we hide from that. So we have the Queen of Swords. The Queen of Swords is so far away from the High Priestess. The Queen is about emotions, but the swords are about vision. The swords are about seeing. The swords are about using your eyes and your intellect. And there's a battle going on, because if queens are about emotions and queens are about feeling, and yet she's staring at this sword here, looking at the past. She has the option of, do you want to just try and stick with the knowledge that the sword, that intellect is showing you, and the card's saying that you've got to look deeper than that. You can't just, and you can see the seas are already stormy here, but you've got to look past that, but we're not able to. We're so focused on the sword, even though, we're presented with a chance to actually understand inside and not just outside. But instead, we try and hide in the Devil card by using all those things, those negative things, staying up too late, working too hard, drinking too much, all these things that we use to cover up what we don't want to look at underneath. So that's the story here using this particular deck. So with intuition, the important thing is trusting the story, not the keywords. What are you seeing? You're seeing the panel, a 3-card panel of a comic strip. What is the story that it's telling you? So I would suggest pulling out cards and just laying out 3 cards, not trying to do the past, present, or the future, not doing anything. Just try and create a story about it. And go inside. And if it doesn't match the keywords, oh well. Because again, before all these books were written, people used their intuition. They knew what the cards were just by looking at them. Justice was justice. You saw the devil, you knew what the devil was. You didn't need keywords to be able to tell what these cards meant before the very first tarot book was written. So, that's the High Priestess. I hope this helps, and I will continue moving on. After this, I will be looking at the Empress. So with that, I hope this helps at least a little bit, and I hope you have an amazing day, an amazing week, and all that other wonderful stuff. So thank you again very, very much, and again, have a wonderful evening.